In my last video, I said something that tends to make people uncomfortable. Sales isn't primarily a people problem, it isn't primarily a motivation problem, and it isn't primarily a talent problem. Sales is a system problem. And if you accept that, then the obvious next question becomes, what exactly is the system? Today, I'm going to walk you through what I call the big 5 sales KPIs. Now, 4 of them are leading KPIs and 1 is a lagging KPI. As I've discussed in previous videos, leading KPIs predict the future. They are behavior KPIs, and lagging KPIs report the past or what has already happened. These are not the only metrics that exist, but they are the 5 that sit at the core of almost every high-performing gym sales system I've ever seen. So they are outbound calls, appointments, tours, sales, and POSR, which is point of sale referrals. I'm going to explain what each one is, why it matters, what it tells you, and how you actually improve it in the real world. So let's start at the very top, and the first KPI is outbound calls. Now, when I say calls, I don't mean attempts, I don't mean dials, and I don't mean leads received. I mean completed outbound conversations, a human speaking to another human. Now, this is the purest form of sales activity. And why does this KPI matter? Because outbound calls are the only KPI in the system that you directly control. You don't fully control how many leads marketing produces, you don't fully control market conditions, and you don't fully control conversion, but you do control whether your team is picking up the phone and speaking to people. If outbound calls are low, everything else downstream will eventually be low. Calls are the fuel. No fuel, no engine. So what do outbound calls tell you? They tell you whether your sales team is actually working a pipeline or just reacting to whoever walks in. Most gyms that struggle with sales are passive. They wait. High-performing gyms hunt. So what does good usually look like? This varies by the model, but as a rough operator mindset, each salesperson should have a daily outbound call target. Not weekly, not when they get time, but daily. And if you don't have a number, you really don't have a standard. The target should be worked backwards from the sales target using the big 4 ratios, which I'll detail in the next videos. So what do you do to improve outbound calls? First, you block call time into the day. You remove admin from salespeople. You track completed conversations and not dials. You publish yesterday's call numbers daily and make it visible. And you coach behavior and not attitude. If calls are low, fix time allocation. Now, calls will be the focus of the next video where I'll do a deep dive around this KPI. Now, KPI number 2 is appointments. Appointments represent conversations that turn into scheduled visits. Now, the important modern reality, appointments can be booked many different ways. Humans, AI chatbots, email chatbots, web forms, automated funnels, and that's great. Automation should absolutely be part of your model. But even in AI-assisted businesses, appointments still remain a core KPI because they tell you how effectively interest becomes commitment. They tell you about the quality of the call and the quality of the leads. So why do appointments matter? Because interest without commitment produces nothing. People saying, sounds good, doesn't pay the rent, it doesn't pay salaries. Appointments are the first moment a prospect invests time. It's your first conversion. So what do appointments tell you? They tell you how effective conversations are, how compelling your value proposition is, how confident your booking language is. Low appointment rate with strong call means people are talking but not moving people forward. And that's a skill issue and not a structure issue. So what does good look like? You should know your call to appointment booking percentage. Now, this is one of the big 4 ratios, which we'll talk about in future videos. But you don't know it roughly, not it feels okay. You need to know this exactly. So how do you improve appointments? First, standardize booking language. Always propose a time and never ask, would you like to come in? Reduce choice, 2 options maximum. Book while on the call. Use automation as a multiplier, not a replacement for discipline. Appointments really are the bridge between talking and selling. Now, a quick note on ratios, and this is important. The big 4 ratios are a very important aspect of this system, and we will do a deep dive on these in coming videos. Every ratio in this system is influenced by 2 things, volume and conversion skill. Higher volume gives you more chances. Better skill improves what you do with those chances, and both matter. Now, this video is about the system and the structure. Deep skill development around needs analysis, tour flow, objection handling, and closing is covered in detail in my book. Just understand this: if volume is broken, skill can't save you. If skill is broken, volume can't save you. You need both. Okay, now back to the system. KPI number 3 is tours, or your show rate, which is one of the 4 big ratios. Now, tours measure who actually turns up, not booked, not promised, physically present. So why tours matter? Because a no-show is effectively a dead lead. You can't sell to someone who isn't there. So what do tours tell you? They tell you how strong your pre-visit experience is, your confirmation process, reminders, personalization, expectation setting. Low show rate almost always means weak follow-up, generic messages, and no human touch. Not pricing, not market conditions, process. So what does good look like? You should know your appointments to show percentage daily. And how do you improve tours? Confirmation message immediately after booking. Reminder on the day, a human confirmation call where possible, and set expectations of what happens in the visit. People don't ghost experiences that they feel prepared for. Now, KPI number 4 is sales. Sales is simply tours that convert into memberships. Now, notice something important. Sales is 4th, it's not 1st, and sales is a lagging KPI, it's not a leading KPI. High-performing operators understand this. Sales isn't something you try harder at. Sales is the output of the first 3 KPIs working properly. So why sales matter? Well, obviously revenue, but diagnostically, sales tells you whether upstream volume is sufficient and whether tour execution is effective. And what sales tells you? High tours and low sales means you have a tour quality issue. Low tours and low sales, you have a volume issue and maybe a tour quality issue. Different problems. So what does good look like? You should know your tour to sale percentage. Again, another one of the big 4 ratios, and your total sales volume. And how do you improve sales? Well, read the ICM Sales Mastery, but also standardize your tour flow, standardize your needs analysis, standardize offer presentation, train objection handling, and just remove winging it from the business. Sales improves through structure and not hype. KPI number 5 is point of sale referrals, POSR. Now, POSR in this model is very specific. It happens after the sale. A new member joins. Before the paperwork is finished, the salesperson attempts to collect 1 or 2 names, friends, family, or colleagues. People who might also be interested. That's POSR. And why does POSR matter? Because it's the highest intent lead you will ever receive. It comes from someone who has just said yes. Trust is already present. What POSR tells you? It tells you whether your sales team is building a self-generated lead engine or relying purely on marketing. And what does good look like? You should know your POSR leads per day, your POSR appointment percentage, and your POSR sale percentage. And how do you improve POSR? Make it a non-negotiable step in the sales process. Provide a simple script, ask every time, track it separately, and coach it like a skill. POSR turns every sale into the start of the next opportunity. So how does the system fit together? Outbound calls, appointments, tours, sales, POSR, feeding back into calls. It's a loop. It's not a straight line. It's a self-sufficient system. When one KPI is weak, you don't guess, you trace backwards. Sales down, check tours, check show percentage. Tours down, check appointments. Appointments down, check calls. Calls down, fix behavior. And this is what removes emotion from sales management. No shouting, no panic, no witch hunts, just diagnosis. My final thought on this video is most gyms don't fail at sales because people are bad. They fail because no one defined the system, no one measures the system, no one manages the system. If you build this 5 KPI engine and manage it daily, sales becomes predictable, it becomes repeatable, it becomes controllable, and it becomes boring, and boring is good. In the next videos, I'll start breaking the big 5 and the big 4 down individually, beginning with outbound calls. We'll learn what good looks like, what bad looks like, and the fastest ways I know to increase call volume without burning your team out. Sales isn't magic, it isn't talent, and it isn't luck. It is a system, and systems can be built, and we will build it together.